Hello world, welcome back to another TryHackMe challenge video. In this video, we're going to be solving disk analysis and autopsy. Let's get started. In the attached VM, there is an autopsy case file and its corresponding disk image. You need to repoint autopsy to the disk image file. And they show you that what you're gonna have to do, or what the window looks like for when you need to repoint it, right? So let's go ahead and start the machine up. And while that's loading, let me tell you a little bit about autopsy. Autopsy is a forensics tool that allows you to analyze images, analyze thumb drives, analyze a bunch of different things, right? That as long as it's in a form of like an image file, right? Depending on what it is. You can look at the autopsy documentation for all the supported file types if you need to, but essentially it's open source. That's the best thing. It's free, absolutely free, and it's still being developed and worked on, and new features are being added into it all the time. Now, well, a lot of forensic software, like for criminal and companies, they like purchasing software, right? Proprietary software that's can oftentimes cost tens of thousands of dollars. And sometimes that software has a free version you can use, but it's very limited, right? It's very limited on the utilities it provides because it's an evaluation version. They want you to pay a ton of money for that software because there's not a lot of software like it out there, right? There's not too many of these forensics tools out there. So companies capitalize on the scarcity of this type of tool. However, autopsy, like I said, completely free. The GUI, there's a GUI version that works on Windows, and then there's a web-based version that works on Linux, and it's very, very useful. And a lot of times it actually does beat out a lot of the proprietary tools in several different ways, just because it provides much better features and navigation, right? In fact, it's one of the most user-friendly pieces of software, unironically, right? Now, for this challenge, right, this is a bit of a harder challenge. It's ranked medium, and we're going to maybe run into some troubles solving certain things or have to wait a little bit for things to load and so on and so forth. But bear with me. We'll get through it, and hopefully by the end of this, you'll know a lot more about investigating a Windows machine. So it looks like we've already booted up, and we're going to go ahead and run our autopsy. Now, there's a lot of modules that has to load up and things, so it's going to take a minute, right? And one of the cool things that I saw up here is it says ingest modules were already ran for your convenience. Ingest modules are what autopsy runs on the image to provide you with data, right? Parsed out data. That's all it does, is really parse out data from the image and makes it more readable for you and easier to navigate through. This challenge would have taken a lot longer had we had to do that ourselves, but since we don't have to, we can simply open the case. All right, so let's go desktop, case files, tryhackme.aut. .aut is the extension for the case, okay? So whenever you save a new case or open an old case, you always look for a .aut file to load. Now this will take a little bit for it to reopen all the modules, and sometimes this happens too, these connection errors. It's just the connection between you and the server, right? It sometimes just has some issues. All you gotta do is click reconnect and it should bring you back into the interface. So this is the prompt for that missing image file. We need to repoint it. So let's go ahead and click yes, browse, desktop, and it should be in our case folders file. Yep, there it is, that .eo1. .eo1 is just another image type. As you can see on the left, all the modules are loading, and as you can see down here, these are all the things that it parsed out, right? These are all things that we can look at without having to dig through the actual file system itself to look for them. It just has some pre-ready. Now, one thing I need to check real quick is that a lot of times when this software loads up, let's go ahead and maximize it. At least from what I've seen from that TryHackMe challenges, sometimes the images don't load like they're supposed to, right? As you can see, neither one of these images are loading. So what I've had to do is I've had to actually close the case. I will just do this. Close case. All right, now all we got to do is reopen the case. And if we click back here and click on our file, we should be able to see it. Yep, there it is, and there's the other one. All right, cool. Now our images are loading. We can finally get started. So they start you off pretty easy here at the beginning, right? What is the MD5 hash of the EO1 image? All we got to do, right? So if you want to navigate through the file system itself, you can expand these up here. And I think it's volume 3. Yep. So in this volume, you can actually see the whole file system. Whoops. If you click data sources and then select the item, right? You'll actually be brought to this right here, and then you can click file metadata, and you'll see that the MD5 hash is actually right here, and we should be able to copy and paste that outside like so. And I think that added a space there. Yep, submit. Cool. First answer correct. Now I don't think you can copy from outside in, but copying inside out, fair game. All right, let's move on to the next question. What is the computer account name? Now it's very important. It's not asking for the user account name. It's asking for the computer account name. And if we scroll down here, there's actually some operating system information right here. And if we, there's a name right there actually. You see that desktop 04 whatever, right? So we should be able to just click that, copy it, paste it on out. Boom. All right, let's keep going. And that's probably, a lot of times, that's like the typical host name for a computer, right? It's like, it'll say like desktop or something, and then after it like dash and some like unique nonce or whatever, right? That's how like Windows systems are named by default. You can actually just change that name whenever through the control panel. But anyways, list all user accounts. Well, if we look right under operating system information, we see operating system user account, and it looks like it gives us all of them right here. So let's go ahead and sort them alphabetically since it wants it in alphabetical order. And it appears that there's 8 items that we need to list, and there's definitely more than 8 users. So why don't we just list all the non-built-in users, right? So built-in users would be like administrator and default account and guest. Hassan does not look like a built-in user, so we'll add him or her. And excuse me if I pronounce these names wrong. There's Joshua. Oops. There's Joshua's next, and then Keshav, and then Sanya, then Shreya, then Sivapriya, and Srini, and then Suba. All right, let's go ahead and submit that. All right, cool. Who was the last user to log into the computer? Well, if you'll notice here, there's a date accessed column. So all we need to do is sort by the most recent date accessed, and we'll see that the person that accessed the computer last or logged into the computer last is actually Sivapriya. So we'll go ahead and put him or her in there. What was the IP address of the computer? Okay, so for this one, right, where would you find IP addresses typically on a machine, right? Well, most of the time I go to Windows and then System 32, then drivers. Yep, drivers, and then Etsy or etc, and then hosts. And I look in here. Let's go ahead and bring this up a little bit so we can see more of it. There we go. And I see some IP addresses here, but they're tied to different domains and not necessarily ours, right? So these are probably not going to work. We could try them, but I think that those aren't them, right? Let's go ahead and look through these other ones real quick, just in case we see something. There's some more IP addresses. Source server, maybe it's that? Could be that, could be that. All right, networks. Okay. Services, yeah, definitely not that. Protocol, nope, okay. So we got some IP addresses, but we're looking for the IP address of the computer. computer, and none of these really look like they belong to this machine, right? Like this is campus, London. That doesn't seem like our host machine, right? So let's see if we can't find something else that'll tell us what the IP address is. Let's go ahead and minimize our Windows section, and let's go ahead and look at maybe under program files. Maybe they got something like some kind of utility or something that can tell us. Oh, wait, what's this? Look at LAN? That seems to me like LAN stands for local area network, and this tools are stored in the program files directories, like programs that you install on the machine. Also all the built-in Windows programs too as well, right? Except for some of the basic executables like Microsoft Paint or whatever inside of System32. But look at LAN, that might actually tell us what our IP address is. So let's just kind of skim through some of these files here. How about Los? Okay, well that was hope. Unfortunately, that might have been what we needed. I'm not seeing anything in here. How about the .ini file? Wait, what was that? LAN IP 192.168.130.216, and we know that this belongs to this machine because the LAN user is Hassan, and that was, if you remember, Hassan was one of the users from our user accounts, or from the computer's user accounts, right? So why don't we try that? And I could have just copied and pasted it in, but I decided to make it hard on myself. And submit. All right. Correct answer. Now the next one is, what was the MAC address of the computer? If you look right under this LAN IP, you'll see LAN NIC, and the NIC is, that's going to be our hardware address, right? Are going to consist of our hardware address, which is our MAC address. The only difference here is that this doesn't have the dashes in between it. So all we got to do is paste it in and add our dashes like the answer format wants us to have it. All right. Sweet. Now we can move on to the next one. Name the network cards on this computer. Now, I don't know where network cards are. So anything that you don't know is probably somewhere in the registry somewhere. Like our IP address is definitely somewhere in the registry. But let's go ahead and take this opportunity to show you the search feature on here. You can do an exact match, right? Like you're matching exactly what your characters you're putting in. Substring match is going to look inside of strings, right? Inside like files and stuff, and see if you have like a part of that string. And then regular expression, which is the one we want to use because we don't necessarily know if we need a space in between network and cards, if it's going to be plural or just a single card, like network card. So how we're going to write this out is we're going to say upper or lowercase n. We're going to say network. And then we're going to say any single character or and the question mark stands for 0 or 1 single characters, right? Whenever you have like a symbol like that comes after it, like if this was an asterisk, right, it would be 0 or more characters. If it was a plus, it would be 1 or more characters, 1 or more single characters, right? And then the question mark is 0 or 1 characters, right? So this could be like a space, a hyphen, whatever. Now there could potentially be 2 characters in between, but we're gonna assume that there isn't going to be, or potentially no characters between. Now we're gonna do the same thing we did with the ends and say upper or lowercase c. And then we're gonna say ARD, and then S is also gonna have a question mark next to it because there may not be an S in what we're looking for, right? And this is a long shot because there just may not be any reference to network cards, period, here, right? In which case we would need to look for something else like Ethernet or something like that. But hopefully this will work for us. And I'll get back to you once this finishes searching because this may take a minute. All right, looks like our search is finished. Now let's see what we got here. All right, so it looks like it found something with network cards for here. And also, let's go ahead and expand this out. Software, okay, so that's kind of like I guess you could call it like the equivalent to the folder locate or file location for the registry keys, right? And intuser.dat is registry keys for each user. Now, network card could definitely be in one of these, but let's go ahead and just take a look at the rest of these. If you'll notice, it actually, when there's text available, it does highlight where it found it, and you can actually cycle through the matches if there's more than one. So if we go here, network cards, all right, there. It just has the word network cards. I don't see anything that looks like a network card entry under that. So keep going. UUID. Okay, that's just a comment. And that one. Oh, here we go. Here's an actual registry key for network cards. Okay, so local machine software, Microsoft Windows NT, current version, network cards. All right, that definitely probably will have our network cards, right? We would hope so. So if you remember, if we go back to operating system information and we go to software, this is actually the software registry key, essentially, right? So if we load application, we can actually navigate to, this is like the equivalent of like regripper, but like GUI version, right? And it parses out our registry. So if we go down to, I already forgot what it was. All right, it's Microsoft Windows NT current version. Okay, so let's go back and try that again. So Microsoft, and then if we go down to Windows NT, okay, current version, and then I believe it was, here we go. It was just network card straight up. Click that. All right. Let's see, we got two here. Oh, and it looks like that first one is actually the GUID for the, or GUID for the actual network driver, which is what this appears to be, and it looks like it does follow our answer format, so that is probably it right there. But yeah, every item on your system or object on your system has a unique ID associated with it, and that's what that GUID is right there. But this was our driver for sure. All right, and now you see the power behind the search feature. Whenever you're in doubt or whenever you can't find what you need to, if there's a way you can search for it, do it. All right, what is the name of the network monitoring tool? I'm pretty sure it's that look at LAN tool that we saw earlier, right? Yeah, so we're gonna go ahead and type that in, easy points. Yep, just as I suspected. All right, a user bookmarked a Google Maps location. What are the coordinates of the location? So keyword here is bookmark, and I believe if we come down here, we see web bookmarks, right? Because bookmarks are associated with websites. When you favorite them, essentially, so you can easily access them again if you need to. And if we just scroll down, I'm sure we'll find something that looks like a coordinate. Here we go. That looks like a coordinate. If I copy that, that's going to copy the whole line, though. So let's see if we can't isolate that a little bit better. Let's see, properties. Here we go. So yeah, let's take that and copy it over. Let's get rid of the prefix so that our answer submits properly. Our answer is incorrect. Oh, whoops, I copied the wrong data. I copied the time by accident, was not paying attention. My fault. All right, here we go. Now we have it. Okay. All right, let's keep going. A user has his full name printed on his desktop wallpaper. What is the user's full name? So let's go under the assumption that the user probably downloaded the wallpaper to his system before he set it. So something that a nifty little feature it has is this images and videos. It's just a replica of the file system, right? But instead of, you know, all the files being there, it only shows, well, you'll see here, these bolded files, right? That's, and the number next to it, that's where there's an image or some kind of media inside the file or the folder in that location, right? So we can just minimize this because we want to look at the users, right? And we'll just maximize all these users or expand all these users. And we're gonna just go through each one and see if we can't stumble upon a picture that has someone's name in it. Okay. Let's start with Shreya. You can double click on it to maximize the image to look at it. I don't see anything in that image, so let's keep moving on. Let's move on to Hassan. Might be, there's some letters in that one. Are you a 1 or a 0? Okay, so that's not what we need. Let's look at Keshav. Okay. Apple logo. Trash. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, I don't see anything there. Sanya. Might be something there. Nope. Joshua. Wait, what's that in the corner there? Is there a way I can zoom in on this? What if we full screen? Anto Joshua. Alright, that's, or Joshua. Alright, that looks like a name to me. Kind of a weird name, but okay. Anto Joshua. Submit. Alright, so let's go ahead and close our full screen. We don't need that anymore. Let's reconnect. Alright, let's move on to the next challenge question. A user had a file on her desktop. It had a flag, but she changed the flag using PowerShell. What was the first flag? Okay, so PowerShell, obviously she opened up a PowerShell terminal and then typed some commands in to change a flag that was in a file on her desktop. So what we can do is we can simply just, sure there's something on her desktop, but we want to know what the PowerShell command history is, right? So what we're going to do is we're going to Google PowerShell command history file. And we're gonna get something. Here we go. It's in this console history.txt. Now we don't know which user. Each user could have used PowerShell, right? And we wouldn't know which. We'd have to look through all those, right? So there's an easier way for us to actually do this. We could just do a search for this console history.txt, and then it would give us all the console history.txt files we need, right? So console history. Or was it console host underscore history.txt, I believe. Yes. And if we do a search on that, instead of us having to go through each user's folder, which would have worked perfectly fine, we could just go to each of those locations, but it is in a kind of far or deeper in location on each user's profile, right? Each user has an app data profile that we'd have to check with this text file in it. So this is just much easier, right? We can just look for the actual console host history text file itself. So let's go ahead and sort alphabetically. Let's scroll down to the C's. And here we go. We got some console history.txt. All right, nothing in that one or that one. Ah, this looks promising. Literally says I hacked you. Here's a flag, Harley Quinn for Queen, and then flag, I changed it. So that looks like what we need, right? Because it had a flag, but she changed the flag using PowerShell. So she changed the flag to I changed it, right? Or whatever. Let's go ahead and take this, since this is what we wanted. And that should be the original flag. Yep. And now our next question is, the same user found an exploit to escalate privileges on the computer. What was the message to the device owner? Okay, so we're looking for, I guess, an exploit that escalates privileges. So, and this is the same user. So this user is Shreya. All right, let's go check out Shreya. And let's start with the desktop. All right, there's an exploit.ps1. How much you want to? Oh, what's this Shreya? Oh, okay, it's just a flag change. All right. So this okay, so if system security principal identity get current. Okay, yeah. So this is looking kind of like a command escalation potentially. Yeah, because there's a bypass right here. Yep. All right. So now that we've found this privilege escalation, let's kind of look for, what's the flag format? Ah, yes. So this is definitely it right here. Flag, I hacked you. That seems to be the message since the curly braces follow the format in the answer format. Awesome. All right. 2 hack tools focused on passwords were found in the system. What are the names of these tools? Now, these tools could be stored in like the startup directory, you know, when the computer launches. Sometimes it has certain applications or links to them stored in a directory where it can, or a registry key where it can actually, you know, it tells it to run those on startup, right? And we could look at that. However, let's check something else first. Let's actually check Windows Defender. Windows Defender is built into every system, or Windows system, by default. And if it was running, it might have caught some of the signatures of these 2 hack tools, right? Well, it even calls them hacking tools, so hopefully it caught them. But now Windows Defender isn't the most reliable, so this may be a wild goose chase, since there's better third-party security software out there that does a much more thorough job than Windows Defender. But with any luck, maybe it does have what we need. So we'll go ahead and crack these open because I don't exactly remember which of these directories stores the scan data, or I guess detection data. And it doesn't look like this one does. So let's go ahead and minimize that. Let's check this one. What's in here? Nothing. Okay. Program data. Leave. Go to Microsoft, and then here we go. Windows Defender. Let's see what we got. Let's see, maybe under definition. How about quarantine? Here we go. Let's see if there's anything in here. Entries. Okay. Gibberish. All right. Resource data. More gibberish. Okay, so not that. How about resources? No text. Okay, well that's not helpful. How about scans? Okay, these are all gibberish. How about history? Service. Ah, here we go. Detections.log. Oh, dang. History.log? So these could be the GUIDs of programs or applications that Windows Defender is tracking or quarantined or whatever, right? Okay. So let's take a look at detection history. Here we go. This looks like money right here. Mimikatz, definitely a hack tool focused on passwords. So we'll go ahead and put that in. We need to remember to put this in alphabetical order. There should be a second one, so let's keep going. More Mimikatz. Mimi Love. Still Mimikatz. Okay. Mimikatz. Mimi DRV. Lasagna. Alright, that's probably our other tool. I don't particularly know what lasagna is, but I'm sure it's a hacking tool since it's in the same detection history as Mimikatz. So, alright. There's a Yara file on the computer. Inspect the file. What is the name of the author? Okay, I have no idea where this Yara file is, and when we don't know where something is, what do? We do a keyword search. That's right. So we're gonna go ahead and just search for .yar and see what we get. And I'll be right back once this is finished. Alright, the .yar search finished. Let's take a look at what we got here. App index. Okay. Ooh, what do we have here? Alright, so here's some new stuff. Yar, okay. Ah, here we go. What was that? KiwiPasswords.yar? That's probably the YAR file we're looking for. Okay, so what about this reg ripper? What does this say? Okay, that's not what we need. Here we go. Okay. Ah, here we go. Here's a KiwiPasswords.yar. Okay, so it says it's in Hassan Desktop Mimikatz trunk. Is it? Let's look and see if we can't see a little bit more information. Because I have a feeling there's no Mimikatz trunk located on Hassan's desktop. That would be too obvious. Okay, I'm not seeing anything else. Alright, so this is definitely the Yara file we're looking for. So now we got to go find it. So we know it's located somewhere in Hassan. It does say that there's it could be on the desktop in a Mimikatz trunk directory. I find that unlikely, but let's go ahead and check it out. It's a good starting point, right? So let's go to desktop and nothing. All right. Well, maybe since Hassan is the one who got this file, like .yar files are not just native to Windows, so he had to have gotten this from somewhere. So why don't we go ahead and check his downloads? Oh, snap. Mimikatz trunk. Well, could have unzipped it on the desktop and then deleted it when he was done. Okay, that makes sense. And fortunately for us, Autopsy allows us to navigate into the zip file, right? And there's our kiwi passwords.yar file. And what did it ask for? There, expect the file. What is the name of the author? The name of the author is literally the first comment in this file. Awesome. I bet we don't need those tick marks. Dope. All right, guys. Last question. Finally. One of the users wanted to exploit a domain controller with an MSNRPC-based exploit. What is the file name of that archive that you found? Okay, so it's not referring to the archive we were just looking at because it doesn't follow this format at all. So let's go ahead and just Google MSNRPC exploit. I'm sure this first one will look fine. Just do us just fine. Microsoft issued a security update guide on August 11, 2020 and a security patch for a critical vulnerability in Microsoft NetLogon Remote Protocol, MSNRPC, that allows attackers to gain domain administrator access to the Active Directory server and perform malicious activities. Okay, that's not good. So, what were the keywords here? Critical Windows exploit and then 0 logon. So that's the name of the exploit, right? And then here's the service that it's exploiting. So why don't we do since I don't know where the heck to find that kind of stuff, let's go ahead and just do it. You know, it doesn't hurt before we have to go dig into the nitty gritty. Why don't we go ahead and do a couple searches? We'll do NSNRPC and we'll do, what was it? 0 logon, since that's the name of the exploit. Now, I don't expect necessarily the exploit to be named after itself, right? Or like the file that we're looking for to be named after the exploit, but maybe. So, no results found, but we do have some good stuff here, right? Here's a 0 logon link, LNK file. Now, it didn't, it doesn't really say where it's located, but, oh, it's located in C, users, Sanya, downloads. Okay. So I wonder if we go to Sanya's downloads, if it'll be there or not. Absolutely not. Just an anime JPEG. Okay. Well, that's fine. Because we don't need to necessarily, the question isn't asking us to dig into the zip file, right? It's just asking us for what the name of the zip file was, which we have based on our keyword search. See how powerful this is? And our keyword, and that definitely looks like it's following that answer format right there. So let's go ahead and copy that. Paste it in. Congratulations, we've completed the room. All right, guys, this one was a little bit of a more trickier forensics room. I think it is actually ranked medium, so it's more intermediate, right? And you saw that we had to do a little bit more than just like clicking around, right? We had to do keyword searches, we had to access different features, know where things were, or kind of presume where things would be. We even had to bring Google into this. So I hope you enjoyed the room, the challenge. Drop a like and subscribe if you enjoyed the video. Check out our Discord and Patreon links in the description box down below. And comment on any feedback you have. Positive, negative, if you want us to do a room and it's within our capabilities to do so, or any kind of challenge on any site, right? We'll gladly do a video on it. Thanks for watching. Goodbye, world.